Okay, Richard.
Evening.
Evening. Okay, call the meeting to order. First thing, a couple announcements. One, Flat Rock Road may be closed for several hours next week as the company that we've hired to test the, to do borings around the abutments of the bridge on Flat Rock Road needs the road closed for about 4 hours. Should be around the 21st, 22nd, but Jim will put up signs ahead of the closure.
They didn't have like a time, like morning, afternoon, or?
No, they're
not
going to
from
do
their
both of those.
notice, okay.
They're going to do that and the bridge at the gravel bank.
Yeah.
Second thing, the town has received a fairly large bay leaf tree from the Rubin family to
Sweet.
increase our arboretum in here. So we have a good supply of bay leaves if everybody needs any. For the foreseeable future, we're good on bay leaves. But anyway, thanks to the Rubin family from Cornwall Hollow. Town has received quite a few plants over the years, and we'll see how it goes. Next is approval of the minutes of September 1st, 2015. It's a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 1st.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
Under the town office renovation on the first page,
Right.
you made the motion to accept the building official Paul Prindle's recommendation of three bids, one from Decker and Beebe and two from U.S. Insulation Corporation. Did we accept all three? Or did we clarify which one we actually selected and how much it was for?
Let's see.
And I did not look back at my notes to see which one we selected.
We selected Decker and Beebe.
Decker and Beebe did the pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, approximately $1,200 for that. Approximately $3,000 from U.S. Insulation to do the attic over the Deneen wing of the building. And then there was roughly $1,600 worth of work. Insulation work by U.S. Insulation on the Nelson wing of the building.
And the crawl space for that one.
And the crawl space. We'll talk about those because we found some asbestos and proposal to remove the asbestos as part of our thing for those.
So we had one from Decker and Beebe for $1,200.
Yeah.
One from U.S. Insulation for $1,600. And what was the other one?
$3,000 from the U.S. for a separate part of the building.
Different places. Okay.
And one was the attic and one was the basement for the crawl space. Or different parts, right?
And then same thing for the soccer lines on Foot Field.
Soccer.
Yeah, I had asked who does them, and the board discussed this. Well, so in the end, we said, who does them? Was it Jim?
It was
that
unclear.
gonna do them?
We
No,
know
it's
who
still
didn't
on
do
there.
it. We know who used to. Where are we in the soccer lines?
Right before the end.
Oh, yeah, sorry, page 3.
Right. At the time, we didn't know who did them.
So we should know.
We knew who did them, but we didn't know who's doing them this year.
So should the board discuss this? No, no,
We didn't have.
no decision
We
was
didn't
made?
have the, yeah, well, we didn't have the correct information or the current information.
Right, okay.
So this, just the changes then to the,
Yeah, just to put out there who's doing what on that renovation. Decker and Beebe's doing this part for this amount of money, the U.S. Insulation this part for this money.
right, okay, and then the soccer
Yeah,
lines stay intact.
yeah, no decision was made.
Right,
Well, no decision was made, because We don't know. We don't know who does
But I
them.
think the,
And we didn't decide who does them.
right, but we weren't, it wasn't our decision to decide who,
So there just was no answer as to who does it.
right.
Yeah.
Right, but there was no conclusion to that. It just said we discussed it. And then what was the conclusion? We didn't,
There was no conclusion.
right, so
Yeah.
then it should say, you know, no conclusion was determined or something, so we know where it ended.
Well,
Does the soccer team have lines? Does the soccer field
they
have lines?
do, but we didn't know that at the time. I could tell you all about that.
They do now?
At a separate
Someone
time.
has them? Okay.
Right, but.
Someone
we
did them?
It's done, but at the time, we didn't know. And
Right.
I feel also we shouldn't nitpick all the, I mean, we could all write these slightly differently, but something like this where it's not, I think the insulation is fine because that clarifies some things.
Mhm.
But this, we did discuss it, it's not our decision to make, it's not our purview as
Then
far
we
as.
could
the
say
money.
that too. It's not
We
the
could,
board's
but
not the
I
board's
also-
decision to make.
But it's also, I mean, I don't wanna nitpick the minutes for,
Oh, no,
Forever.
I'm not nitpicking forever. I'm just trying to say, okay, we're looking back on this next year. Who's doing the soccer lines? Well, let's see who did them last year. Oh,
we didn't
We
know.
don't know.
So the thing to do then, to bring it up at our next meeting, I can tell you, it's a
Great.
big issue, what the update on the soccer thing is, and that probably is a good thing, but I think at this, the
okay.
minutes reflecting the tone of what happened at the meeting, I think these are accurate.
So what you're saying is you wanna edit these minutes to reflect the 3 bids specifically for the amount?
What they were for and how much they were.
Okay.
And we can skip the soccer line
Deal to next.
deal if we are gonna actually make a determination at the next meeting, that's fine.
Right, an update.
Yeah.
Soccer lines. Okay. All right, so all those in favor of those verifications to work at the town hall? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, West Cornwall sidewalk. I did go up to Falls Village and got fairly comprehensive plans that they did up there. And I'll pass those on to Roger to look and just make sure the things we're talking about have the benefit of their engineering.
Excuse me, Gordon, why is there no public comment in the beginning of this meeting?
I believe that's what, because this is a special meeting
Right,
and there'll be public comment at the end, somewhat different in the public in a special meeting.
but if the public only spoke to issues on the agenda, wouldn't that be appropriate?
That probably would, but I don't know. What do you think, Joyce?
Well, there's no comments to make at the beginning, because we haven't gone through the agenda, because you can only comment on agenda items. You can't
But we
comment.
have the list, so if someone,
Well, then
I
when
mean,
you
how can we-
get, then when you get down to West Cornwall Septic, then you can make a comment there, or you can wait till afterwards when public comments are
okay,
agenda.
so if you're open to having a comment
Right.
while
No, I
we're
think
on
we'll
the
just
agenda
have,
item,
we'll
fine.
have, this is a special meeting, and we're doing it somewhat differently than a regular meeting. I'd rather have a regular meeting set up where we have the public comment in the beginning and the end. Maybe next time we can have public comment at the beginning and the end, but we felt after our FOI workshop, we wanted to make sure we only discussed things that are on the agenda. And we can do that at the next special meeting, I don't really care. As
It
long
was
as we
just that-
remember this is different than a regular meeting where we can
I understand that.
add and adjust to the agenda.
It's just that the public comment then couldn't influence your votes if we don't speak until the end.
True. But unfortunately, as this is a special meeting, we can't change the agenda. So that's the point well taken. Anything else before we get into sidewalks? Let's see. Have a meeting set up in West Cornwall, 11 o'clock at the Winery Moose. We got plans from Falls Village about their sidewalks up there. They'll be available here if people want to look at them. I can hand them off to Roger tomorrow.
When's the meeting?
It's at 11 o'clock on Thursday, the 17th. So my question for the board is, do you and Richard want to attend? And that would then be a special meeting, probably not with public comment, but we could, if you're available, we could meet, take a look. Russ is providing coffee. If you can make it, fine, if not, I'll just,
I'm not positive I can make it.
Yeah, I'm not either, I'd have to check my other book.
okay. So my thought is that we will gather public comment, or at least I'll talk to some of the butters, then we'll look through some of these plans, and as we are not entirely set on a design at this point, I think we should have another meeting before October to sort of, there's a couple items that we need to act on before the next 3 weeks. So my thought is, I'd like to meet like the 29th, which would get us around the holiday. It'd be Tuesday, either Monday or Tuesday night, because I know, Heidi, we're meeting on Tuesdays. Can we meet, I mean, I don't care if we meet Monday or Tuesday night that week, but I think as we go down here, we have things that are coming up, like we have to meet and do a lot of work with Jim and the fire department on the 5-year plan in October, so that's going to take a lot of that first meeting. And I'd like to get the sidewalk thing figured out with Roger one way or the other last week in September. That gives us a little more time to look at designs, get some input, and then make some decisions so we can talk to the
Yeah,
contractor.
not having to worry about the, my previous position with the foundation.
Right.
The nightly meetings have
So you can meet Monday or
changed
Tuesday.
on
So
more,
whatever's convenient with you. But I would like to have another meeting.
28th is ZBA, 29th there's nothing, so
Want to go for the 29th?
that's fine.
Which one works for you, Richard? Better?
Well, I think the 29th is probably the one to
Yeah,
go
in case you
for.
want to go to the, yeah.
And this is to sort of make the final decisions on the
On the
sidewalk.
sidewalk, so we'll
Roger
sit
will
down,
be in attendance.
we'll have a look at these specs, get a chance to visit some more sites, talk to people, get some good ideas. Because also I haven't finished the town report, and we may have some more things to do on the town buildings. So we'll have several items on that special meeting call,
7:30?
7:30.
Can it be any earlier? Or you guys really can't do anything earlier?
It could be 7.
Maybe.
What, or how's you close the store at 7, what do you do?
Yeah, you have any help that night or general?
Well, I don't know, I don't know what that schedule is.
Let's just keep, there's only a couple items, although they may take some time, if we can keep it 7:30, I think that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go for 7:30, yeah.
Right.
It'll be dark by then, by the time.
Right.
And I was thinking on the way here, I'm like, is this the last meeting that's gonna actually be light on my way here?
Okay, so we'll meet then. We will not post this as a selectmen's meeting on Thursday. Public's welcome to come, but it's not a regular.
Is
Not
there a
really special.
problem if we do show up on Thursday?
Well, we can't take any action, we shouldn't be meeting on town business. Outside the meeting setup, I could post it as a meeting, but then if nobody shows up, it can't be a meeting because there's no
Right.
quorum until you get that
So
home.
when would you have to
Yeah.
post it, by tomorrow?
24 hours ahead, yeah,
So
Realistic.
I'll let you know by tomorrow. if
Has to
I
be like
can,
tomorrow,
be there.
11 o'clock.
Okay.
If you post 24 hours ahead, so tomorrow by 10 would be good.
Do you mean Roger 11?
Yeah, so we have to do it at least 24 ahead, I believe.
I will let you know tonight
Yeah,
when I go home.
24 ahead, otherwise it's an emergency meeting. And
Right, and that's
I
not
don't
it.
think this qualifies for
No.
an emergency.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
No,
Mr. Hennick would not like to hear about
I
that.
know,
I
I'm
don't
sure.
think it will.
We would get in trouble. Okay, so anyway, we'll,
I didn't know that was an option for tonight, I would've brought my other calendar, but, okay.
okay, so that's it on sidewalks for the time being. Let's see, small item on the oil bid. Let's see, we did, when I talked to the oil company, we picked the cap price.
Right.
The cap price carries with it a 17-cent charge. So if it goes The fixed price is $2.10. Trying to do some memory, so if you have the actual letter. Anyway,
Yeah, that's right,
the
that's
fixed price was $2.10. The cap price, she pointed out, was, carries a 17-cent charge. So if it goes, if the base price goes up to $2.10, we will wind up paying $2.17.
27.
27 cents, so we
Yeah.
won't, we may pay more than if we just went with the straight cap price, or the fixed price if we went with the fixed price at $2.10, if the maximum we'd pay under the cap price is $2.27. She said most people are going with,
But that's what it would be in, like 227, right?
Most people are going with the,
most people are going with the cap price, even though your upside may be higher than the fixed price. The fixed price, you never pay more than $2.10, but you never pay less than $2.10. Right now, you'd be paying less than $2.10, and forecasts are for it to go down. But you have to add that 17 cents onto it. So that's what most people are doing, but she wanted us to be aware that also we have to pay that 17 cents fee up front, so there's gonna be a upfront charge of 17 cents, which for us, because we burn a bunch of oil.
up front. They don't add it to each bill?
No, they do it when they reserve the oil. So we get a bill to start off with for $1,800, assuming that we burn that amount. 'Cause we're
What
paying
happens with the capped price?
the fixed price.
Yeah, the fixed
Fixed price, you just pay $2.10, $2.10, $2.10. You don't get this upfront charge. So before we got that $1,800, and everybody asked me, what was that for? I thought I'd tell you that's coming. I still think it's probably a better deal if the price stays down, which it seems to be staying down. But it's not quite as,
What's the current float price right now? The
You're
current
right,
float
it is,
price? The current float price right now, if you bought
it's
it.
like 179 plus 17 cents. So you're gonna float at about 197. So it's not quite as attractive as if you didn't have that 17 cents up front. Still probably the way to go. It might drop, might not. But the maximum, your maximum
Well, you could figure
exposure.
this out on, you
Right,
could figure
it's
this out
not
how
worth it,
many
it's more
get-
just a heads up, this is what's coming, is to take advantage of that, we have to.
So
pay
we're
it upfront.
we're hedging our bets. We're willing to hedge our bets and take the 17-cent fee.
Right,
And,
thinking the price is gonna stay down under $2 and $2.93, which has to work to be $2.10.
right,
Right, so right now it's
all we
179.
need to do is buy half our fuel below 193 or below,
Right,
and then we're.
and that's what we talked about when I made the motion, was like, all right, now watch, the prices are gonna skyrocket, you know?
Right.
That would just be my luck, but that was the conversation.
I'm still comfortable with what we
I
did,
don't
I
think we
just
knew we
wanna
were gonna
let
have
you
to
know.
pay it up front, but
Just what
that's
you said.
actually what it says, you have to pay it, yeah,
Right.
as insurance
I was
against
gonna
the lowest
say,
price rise, yeah.
It got my attention when we had to pay $1,800 before we even got any oil. So
Yeah,
I just want to let
yeah.
you know, that's the deal. And doesn't require any action, but that's just a clarification. So we don't have to take any action, but that's the word from Ben. Appreciate our business.
As long as everyone is still comfortable with that.
Can I just say, are you part of the fuel?
We are,
Huh?
the town joined
And
the,
are these prices what they're
Yeah.
doing the entire fuel?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, we threw our 11,000 gallons into the fuel. Okay, so we're all good with that? So, all right, anything else on oil bids? Now we have town building repair. You did get a letter from Paul Prindle. I didn't, but people crawled under, he had a consultant crawl under, for John Porta, underneath the Nelson wing of the building, found some asbestos, had an asbestos,
So you say Nelson Wing, what is that?
That is
That's
the
planning and zoning.
planning, zoning, and parking.
Planning and zoning and parking.
Right. So that,
Okay.
they found some asbestos. Paul did some, so before we can insulate it, we need to get the asbestos out.
Can't we just encapsulate it? Not touch it.
I don't think that makes for a great workspace.
Well, if you don't touch it, and it's all encapsulated.
How much is there?
Yeah, what do you
A
got?
couple of water lines. $3,000 pull it out. 28.90. So it's Paul's recommendation that we pull.
Who was
this
that quote
quote.
from?
It is from, did you get that from Paul?
Nope.
Okay, it's from AMC.
These the same people that did the last one?
Yes.
The last good job?
Yep.
And
And did it well,
does
very
it,
clean.
will it be a weekend job?
Yes.
So nobody's in the building and,
Right.
because this is in the basement, do they actually have to go through the whole process of closing off?
I think it's specified in there what they're gonna do.
It would seem as if the space is already, the floor kind of closes it off. Maybe, do they have to put plastic over the whole floor?
They're erecting critical barriers and activating micro traps. Pre-cleaning the work area and erecting containment barriers.
But that may be
For
just,
lockdown of all clean surface. Wow. And a final air sample. And disassembly.
that may be a tent over the
Yeah.
escape hatch, or
Right.
out of the, over the crawl space hatch, what he just repaired.
Right.
Not specifically encapsulating the whole building,
Correct.
I would think.
So they take the air sample for the final air clearance test, but this quote does not include the costs for the, whatever PCM is, PCM final air clearance
Parts
test.
per cubic
Meter,
meter.
performed by a licensed independent air sampling professional. Who does that? We have a price on that?
Don't have a price on that, but we have to get it out before we do that.
This is the only company we got a price from?
I believe that's Paul's recommendation. They were the best one for the last project. We're very satisfied with their work.
I think the last one was much more complicated too.
But this is bad, because, I mean, this is tight, because it's very, well, I mean, it's very tough working conditions. I think also, aren't they pulling out the rest of the insulation too? Part of it.
Fiberglass, chicken wire, and debris.
They're pulling all the stuff out too, so they're moving all the old insulation out of a pretty tight space. So I'll make a motion that we hire AMC to remove the insulation under the east wing of the town hall for $28.90. Remove the asbestos and insulation
Town offices.
of the town offices.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Under discussion, I just want to say, when this agenda came out, I asked that all information pertaining to agenda items be sent to us, and I did not see that, so
Okay.
it's a
I thought I
disappointment.
sent it, so I apologize. I'm not sure I had it.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. So, also related to town building repair, I spent some time with Kate Frygang over our energy group, who has some good news. She attended a workshop in Torrington last week, met some people, or Samantha Soja, who runs the Clean Energy Communities program, which the town is part of, and between Kate's work last week and a conversation I had with Samantha today, she said that the insulation work that we are partaking to do in the town office, which currently is running over $6,000, would be eligible for the Bright Ideas Grant. We've done a lot of work on that. So we have a $5,000 grant and are eligible for another $5,000 on top of that. So Kate's done a lot of work on this, so this would offset, not sure it would offset the asbestos part, but some of that is also removing the old insulation. You can't put old insulation on new insulation, or new insulation on old insulation. So Kate, why don't you just give us a brief update of the good news?
Okay, well, I brought some handouts for you guys. And I gave you an earlier one. And what I'm doing is introducing you to something that's new at Eversource. It is a website which has our, it's called the dashboard. It's new, and the second page you'll see it says the points that we have earned for the town. We have earned these through our campaigns, such as the CEO of Clean Energy Options campaign, which was to sign people on to clean energy. The HES, Home Energy Solutions campaign, which was to promote home audits, and from our Governor's Award, and from also our award of the solar panels that was through the EPA. So given these things, we have a total of 223 points. So that is on that page, if you can see that page. Now on the next page, it says that the per 100 points gives you the $5,000 grant. So that's where the idea that we get two $5,000 grants comes from. And thirdly, the third page just explains the awards, the bottom of which is a new possible award that we're working on, which is the Sunshot award that is associated with permitting, which we participated in early. So this is sort of an ongoing thing to rack up these points, get these grants, do this work. Eversource, I'll also add that Eversource has, well, the last 10 years has been very spotty as to what's required and how to create this point system, and it's been sort of a nightmare. And with Eversource's taking over of CL&P, the letter of commitment that I had submitted earlier lists all the hoops that we will be going through. And we've done them all once, but it's just about saying, remember we did this in 2005, remember we did this in 2009, getting them all in order for us to be able to apply for more of these awards and benefits. So that's the program, that's what we'll be doing.
Great, and also talking to Samantha today, she answered our two questions from our last meeting that was holding up our signing this letter. First thing was, what was the baseline year? She looked on her screen and said our baseline year is 2009, which I believe is before we had the panels, and it's certainly before we insulated that building, so we should be in decent shape as far as meeting the commitment to reduce our energy consumption by 20% by the year 2018. Second thing is, with this agreement, letter of commitment for municipal benchmarking, it requires the town to keep track of its energy expenditures on a yearly basis. And it assists us in doing that, and also assists us in energy audits of the buildings. So there's still plenty of work to be done, and we've also answered the question of the $5,000, which turns out to be a $10,000 grant. So with the possibility of getting more grants. So I think at this point, it would be good to authorize me to sign this letter. I think, Kate, isn't it your feeling we can meet all the
Absolutely.
obligations? In fact, we probably have already met a
We
lot of
have, we
them.
just have to refile them.
Do we have to call the Energy Committee a green team? Is that the same thing, or is that a separate team?
Well, our website is Cornwall Energy, I think
Right.
we just call it Cornwall
Okay.
Energy.
Doing business as the green team.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to add that on the back of one of the requirements is that we frankly re-sign up for the clean energy option for 20%, and the back page of your agreement were some proposals as to how to do that, which I don't know that it's appropriate for this meeting, but I just, that year review of our energy consumption and how to set that up for the clean energy option, I included that in their packets also. I
Okay,
showed you that
good.
earlier.
Yeah. So you can see there's quite a bit of energy used at the garage, which is also the town transfer station. Most of that energy is, my guess, is being used by the packers at the transfer station. And one of the thoughts we had was, we've talked about a new building down at the transfer station to house recyclable building materials. And so if we did that and we got another grant, we perhaps could get panels to offset some of that electric demand. It's nice seeing here that the town office actually has a negative $400 bill. That building does.
400 kilowatts.
Minus 400 kilowatts, not 400,000. But anyway, it has all intents and purposes, a negative electric bill, which is great.
These are the usages from 2014, and you
It
said
is.
our base, if I heard correctly, somebody said the base was
2009.
So how are these comparing to 2009 already? We must be
Well,
substantially.
in another meeting, I'm going to do that kind of review, but I'm not prepared for that date
Right, but
now.
you know, when did we get the panels to the school? Remember?
I think it was around 2009.
Right, yeah, so, but these were later,
Yeah,
so, and we have relamped the school, we've relamped some of these
Yeah, we've
buildings,
done
so we
that.
have done some things that would make it less. I mean, we probably save $2,000, those are in kilowatt hours, but I mean, it's.
I'm just surprised the garage is as high as it is. And I know you're talking
it's
about
a-
a couple of the compactors there.
Right, but the transfer station and land's on the same thing.
I understand, but that's an interesting,
we have to look into it and find out what it is, because at this meeting in Torrington where I was sitting with a bunch of facility managers, they were all saying, oh yeah, you gotta do your doors are the problem. Everybody has to redo their doors, and I so we find out, look into that too. That the garages are heated and they leak terribly.
Have the overhead doors on.
but this
So-
isn't related to, this is,
Electric.
this is electric only on this list, I
Yeah,
think.
but
It's-
Oh, so what's
furnace
the
is
energy,
running.
how do they heat the garage?
It's oil.
Oh, okay.
There is a small
Still
electric space
that
heater.
keeps it running.
Right. It is an electric space heater upstairs. Slight, small one.
Well, that's something to look into.
Yeah.
There's a lot, I mean, there's air compressors, there's some big stuff, you know, welding. They go through
Right.
some block heaters probably. So, anyway, I think it's great progress, good news, and will help pay us, keep us on our insulation program.
So is Samantha, what was her last name?
Soja, SOJKA,
And this is,
And she was with who?
Eversource, who is now taking over, right? She worked for Eversource, Kate?
That's right.
the fact that the work is being done now, it's all, doesn't have to be approved by someone prior to it, or,
Has to be done within a year of our application to get the money back. And
right, okay.
so they don't have to pre-approve, that's one of my questions.
Yeah, we don't.
You want to get
okay,
ahead, as long as we had a bill we submit a bill that was issued within a year of our application
We
to
submit a
get the
bill
money.
to
Right.
Eversource for this,
Yep.
the refunding.
So we're
Okay, well,
we're
that's
definitely good on that.
Pre-approved is the word.
Right.
We don't have to be pre-approved.
Yeah.
Good, good work, great,
Okay,
it's real money.
So that's good. All right, so thanks again for all your efforts, Kate.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so the other thing that Paul's been doing on town building repair is he's gotten some quotes on replacing the windows. We don't have to act on these tonight, but we might as well see what is the scope there. So got one late today from Tom Wolf, the other one from Walter Landon. Paul,
Should we open this?
yeah, you can open those up. And again, we don't have to act on these tonight. We'll get exact figures on our meeting on the 29th and probably have this on the agenda also. But at least we can look at it.
Can you scan those and email them to me? Those two.
They're probably gonna be slightly different,
Yeah, I think what we might do too is have Paul make sense out of this too, because, yeah, we better get some more grants on that one. So what do we have? We have one coming in at, what did he do? He
it's
did
got two
option
different
one.
option one and option two.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, option one and option two.
Depends on the type windows he uses. I think.
Well, that's one of them. That's a $4,400 difference
Right.
between Marvin Integrity and Walcott Vinyl Windows.
Right.
And these are just in the annex building.
Correct.
He's talking about, and here he's talking about replacing some of the sills and some of the side
Right.
stuff, but the top ones seem to be okay. And I'm not sure that's
Yeah,
why
just
it's in.
to retrim interior where necessary.
Because I think it would be good for Paul to look,
Right.
to very
To-
tightly,
Look at this. Okay.
so that's,
So what we'll do is we'll have Paul look at those and then give us a recommendation. And we'll try to scan those,
Yeah, definitely, I'm
scan and
Or
send.
copied and let me know when I can pick them up or. anything like
Yikes.
that. Yeah, right.
Right. And luckily, this is independent of our others. I mean, now that we've taken insulation out, we have to put it back in. But we do have the option of waiting till spring to do the windows if we feel we should. But I think those are, some of those windows are original, so we're getting up there. All right, so.
how much do we have in the building?
Well, then we gotta talk to the financial, gotta figure out how this grant works. Because it goes back into the capital projects for this project, but then we go to the Board of Finance to spend, like say we get, now we have $20,000 in the fund approximately. Do we have to go back to the Board of Finance to spend the other 10 that we get in grants, or can we just spend the money? I think probably we have to get authorized to spend more
Right, well, whether
money,
we,
and they can authorize, they can increase the town budget by $20,000 without going to a town meeting. So there's a financial part too.
Right,
I think
right,
we
right.
have enough money, if I read that correctly, that there's a $10,000 window option in there. We have enough to do that.
well, we have to let Paul look those over,
Yeah.
because that option may not be the option we want to deal with, even though.
After our-
it may be the cheapest.
After our insulation and mortar work and chimney work and hatchway work, we have something about $18,000 left to do repair. town building. I don't suggest we use it all on windows, but we would have.
Is that including the 5 or 10,000 coming back?
No, that does not include the 5 or 10
Good.
coming back.
So
So we're in good shape, we're in good shape to
yeah.
button, to do that, you know, in time, you know, it's a question also to talk to Vera whether she wants, you know, question how much you do this, having the windows out of the building in November is less good than having them out in September, probably.
I think the window's out, he does it on Friday, he
It
can,
doesn't take them very long.
yeah, I think it would all be pretty
It's
quick
Not
and
far
done.
from in.
Yeah.
But I still want to consult. Yeah.
But it probably could be done on a day that,
Right.
Friday and Saturday. when
You could
they-
even do it over a couple weekends maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so anything else on town building repair?
Well, whether we need to, whether we're required to ask the Board of Finance or
Right.
not, is,
Right.
really isn't the question. We should be telling them what we're doing and
Yeah.
the grant money's coming in and this.
They're not meeting until middle of next month, middle of October, they're not meeting this month, so
I think
Anyway,
that's
whatever,
fine. There's plenty of time
those are
to let them know what's
things we
happening.
wanna think about. All right, so I have
Good.
sidewalks, town building repair, and next is, town report. We have to get a town report organized for the, our report for the town report. We have the annual town meeting coming up on October 30th, I believe, whatever that last Friday is. It's the day before Halloween, so people can have their own costume contest at the town meeting.
It's the 30th, yes.
Right, so, let's see, so, yeah, because Barbara said with the new auditor, they're taking a little more time. So, there is no ordinance that controls when we actually have that meeting, but usually we have it in October. So I would say we should have it on October 30th, give the auditors a little more time, give Barbara time to pull together the report. So if we could get our part of that done next meeting, would be good. So I'll draft something up, hopefully this week, latest next week, certainly ahead of the meeting, and give you a draft to look at, and put that on the 29th also. But that's on our to-do list, and then on our first meeting in October, good night. We'll hash out our 5-year plan. Had a meeting with Steve Hedden of the Fire Department Truck Committee. They're looking at a tanker truck. They're turning out to be more expensive than we thought, as a lot of things do. We also talked to Jim about highway stuff, so we'll spend a lot of time first meeting in October, hammering that 5-year plan out. Has to go to the Board of Finance and then approved on that October 30th town meeting. So,
You say 5-year plan, you mean capital plan?
capital plan, correct. And for that meeting, do you guys have a copy of the one we passed last year, or we'll send you out a fresh one?
Great, time for fresh one.
Right. Bear in mind, the first year that's on that plan is incorporated into this year's budget. So the second year is the year where we're actually working on. Okay, so. Did we ever get authorization to sign that, to
Give
sign
authorization for
to-
Gordon, for Selectman to authorize.
the Technical Assistance Initiative Municipal Benchmarking with Eversource?
There you go.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Next is Houstonic Railroad letter. I drafted a copy. Heidi had some suggestions.
Yeah, I thought those were some good editing. I had one,
I tried to make it a little stronger.
Right,
You were very nice in your letter.
I'm very nice, that's nice to hear.
Well, I made a few editing changes too
Okay.
to your
Okay.
copy. Instead of using the word killed, I
Trees that
I
have.
can't hear Richard, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, you're
instead
right.
of using the word killed, I preferred recently died.
Yeah, that's good. Trees that have recently died. Recently died.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
little less,
I didn't wanna change every word.
well, and then,
Killed,
just
died.
in the last line it says, we feel it is HRRC's responsibility to remove these trees
Yeah,
And-
I had trouble with that
and
last
remove
sentence
the,
too.
remove the whole
Right.
liability issue.
Right,
Remove these trees.
Yeah.
We're not calling it that.
And I had a typo right here, it should be HRRC up here.
And then,
all right, so we're changing from to address liability to,
where's that?
Oh, you don't have this.
all right, okay. We feel that it's HRSC's responsibility to remove,
These trees.
to remove.
See, you got even stronger than I did.
Well, I think it's,
It's precise.
well,
That's our problem.
I want to remove the liability issue
Yeah, I
statement.
I don't know your personal relationship with them and how,
No, I
We're
think,
fine,
how
but
strong you wanna be or not.
it's fine. We get,
It's
everybody
fine.
gets along, but it's a big
Good.
issue, so there's
Yeah.
no, it's not.
I think it's good to take an idea,
Should we put, remove these dead trees? Right? Because they're increasingly dead.
Well, we already talked that they already died.
You could. And then the last sentence where it says, we request that HRRC suspend any further spraying until this, forget of its right of way and beyond. Just take that right out. Any spraying until this matter can be thoroughly investigated.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you're taking out,
Of its
Yeah.
right of way and beyond entirely.
Spraying, yeah, of its right away, just period, okay,
Yeah.
until this matter can be done, yeah.
okay? My second editing is in your draft where you say extended beyond the HRCC right of way. It actually isn't, it is not their right of way, it belongs to the state. So they lease it, so I just thought it might be good just to put the railroad right of way.
Where is that?
This is on the
I was
the
pulling
damage.
that information off your letter, so.
Must be a I somewhere.
I just call it the right of way. I think it's not bad to clarify we're talking about the railroad right of way.
Yeah,
I just call it the right of way, which could be, it's more precise to call it the railroad right of way. They don't actually own it, they just,
Well, instead of calling it up here, instead of HRCC or whatever it is,
yeah, HRC.
right of way, call it the railroad right of way.
right.
It's not
It's
their-
actually
it's
Oh,
not
owned.
because it's
their-
not theirs, it's
It-
just
it
the
own-
railroad.
It's actually it's
Yeah.
owned by the state of Connecticut.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think, because there's also the town right of way, which is right next to it. It's not bad to
Right,
clarify
right,
what
right.
right of way we're talking about.
Damage appears to have extended beyond the
The
railroad right of way.
Yeah, no matter who's,
Who's running the railroad?
right,
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
anything else?
I think that's about it. Let's see, do you all want to sign this? I mean, we're not gonna have it all figured out tonight or perfected tonight.
Well, can it wait
Yeah.
until the 29th? They're not
Um,
planning on spraying this fall anyway, right? You said, so,
Roberta said they promised her they weren't gonna spray, but I think this, yeah.
Well, do
I
we
mean,
need
we-
to all sign it, or does that just make it a stronger statement? Is that your thought on that by all of us signing it, it's a stronger statement, or?
I think they'll get the statement regardless of who signs it.
Yeah, I would
can
agree.
can you do it this way? Can you go sincerely, Gordon, Richard,
Right.
Heidi, and then you just sign it?
Right.
But where all of our names are on there, but we don't necessarily have to get in here and sign it and quick enough to get
Could
it out.
you, how soon do you think we can have this ready, Joyce, tomorrow? When are you taking off? You taking off Thursday? We can get it done tomorrow, then you guys can just, when we get it signed, we get it signed. We'll let you know when it's available,
Yeah,
you
we know
can
when
pop on
it's
in.
happening.
I'll pop in to sign it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, we won't meet.
we can do that.
to sign off.
It's
Tomorrow's Wednesday. Okay, so then, I'll make a motion that the board sends this letter to the railroad as,
You know,
what, redrafted?
yeah, and I'm not as convinced about sending it to,
Colin.
dear
Yeah,
Colin.
that's how
Well, it's not
the
Dear
original
Colin.
one was written,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah,
sent
no.
it, if you're gonna put him in this top, then you gotta get him out of there. And
No,
just
no,
send it to the
not
company.
Not necessarily.
You're sending
I
a
think-
letter to him or you're not.
Well, I think what we can do is, because he's their public relations person, and I think what we can do, we can change the
Or swap it
title,
around.
we can swap it around,
Put
just
him
to
under there.
put, Housatonic Railroad Company, care of Colin Pease, and then address the letter to the
And then
railroad.
just do ladies and gentlemen,
Or just do, well, it's actually, we're addressing it to the company.
who are ladies and gentlemen, right?
Well,
I
no, the
think
company,
it
the
should
company,
be-
despite what the Supreme Court says, is actually a separate entity.
So skip him and just say
Just do,
Housatonic Road.
yeah, and then we put the big address up, care of Colin Pease, and just say,
Yeah.
address it to the company, because that's really who we're after. Who we're addressing it to.
Yeah,
The
I would say
corporation.
it should go to the corporation, yes. I would agree with that.
Right, and that's the Housatonic Railroad Company.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. That's fine.
Okay, so with the motion was made to send a letter as drafted and agreed to by the board.
That's the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is, we had an interesting double meeting at the Council of Governments. First one was with the 8 towns, Region 1 plus Norfolk plus Goshen, that are working on this economic development study with Goldman and York from Hartford. They had some updating of what they're doing. They're about to put out a flyer that will be available on the internet about doing business in each town, and there'll be a document called Doing Business in Cornwall. So they've done that, and there's also going to be a, further down, I can tell you about another event that's happening. So on their list of things to do, they may do sometime in the wintertime a conference for the town, open public session about talking about the Cornwall economy. I mean, a lot of commissions, EDC, Planning and Zoning, Board of Selectmen talk about the economy. It's very hard to do it in 45-minute session, so this would be sort of a day-long or afternoon-long session led by them, with their work having looked at the businesses, what's working, what's not in Cornwall, so they plan to do that. They're working on different projects for each town. So we met with them. Also,
So what is this document that they're putting on their website?
it's called Doing Business in Cornwall. It lists the businesses, I believe it lists some business opportunities in Cornwall. And I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you any more about it. But it tells you, you know, it locates Cornwall, what some of the existing businesses are, what the region's like. So it's for somebody if they wanted to move to, and they're doing this for all 8 towns slightly differently, depending on the town. So they would say, this is what some of the businesses are, here's some of the opportunities, this is what the region has to offer, that kind of thing.
So they create this flyer, they put it on their website. Who reviews it to make sure that it's accurate and correct? The EDC,
Yeah, I
or
think
Karen, or
I think
Planning and Zoning, or?
I think the EDC is looking at it, Janet's looking at it. So,
just Janet, or it's on your agenda for the EDC to review it?
I'm not sure if it's on their agenda or not, but certainly when it's done, and certainly be,
And is it only gonna be on the Gorman and York website, or where else is it
I think
gonna be?
I think, well, I'll go further down in the agenda, I'll tell you more,
Okay,
because it ties into something else.
okay.
So, let's see. We also did talk to, got a presentation on housing and school populations, which I can scan you. I meant to copy things off, I didn't get to it today, but it was sort of interesting. It was from a statewide housing group. Talked about the town of Cornwall, some facts, figures, projections, which are of course only projections. But what they said was that 150 towns out of the 169 in the state of Connecticut are projecting a decline in their school population in the next 15, 20 years. Cornwall and some of the smaller towns, what they're looking at is a decrease in the school population statewide of about 30% and an increase in the population people over 65 of over 30%, which probably includes most of the people in this room. So what's going on in Cornwall and some of the, I believe Salisbury has the highest average age of any town in Connecticut. What's going on in our region is going on all over the state. It may be more pronounced here than other places. So I felt that was interesting. And what they're seeing is an increase in multifamily housing in Connecticut. So there's some information about housing demographics, because in a way this also relates to the economy of Cornwall, the demographics of Cornwall. And also on October 11th, there is going to be an event hosted by the Economic Development Committee on the 11th and 12th, Columbus Day weekend. It's called Explore Cornwall. They're going to have the event on the 11th at the school, which will be working with the school and major employers and realtors that will hope to attract families to town, highlighting that there are quite a few houses in the affordable range, that we have an excellent school, and there are employers with quite a few employment opportunities in the region. So Janet and some of the Gorman, New York people reached out to some of the major employers, and so they will be there at CCS on October 11th, and then on October 12th there'll be some Columbus Day festivities in Cornwall Bridge.
Where are they advertising this?
I think they're doing some sort of web presence.
It's on the website.
It's on our website.
Yes, it's on the
I think they're
homepage, the coming events
But
page.
unless someone actually
I think they're
goes to the Cornwall
well, no,
website, how will
they're
they
dispersing
know?
it through some other media
What's
outlets.
the other media?
I don't know the answer to that, but it's going to some markets, Hartford, Boston,
I think
New
there was
York.
New York was in there too.
A lot of stuff going to Brooklyn, so they're plugging into some blogs and social media in urban southern Connecticut, Litchfield County. They're going to, and also do the print media up here, publicize the event. But it
I
is,
just haven't really seen it anywhere.
I think it just,
I think just.
Go to the coming events page of the home.
Well, I think I've seen it there only because, I go there,
I
but
posted it a while ago.
if you're not actually, I know about it, but I just don't know how other people who don't live right here and are in tune to what's going on will know about it.
I think they're doing the whole spectrum of publicity, so I think it's a good program.
When you talk about just increase in general of multifamily housing in the state, is that for affordability more or multi-generational living, like grandparents, kids, grandchildren, or what? Do they have any
All
kind of thoughts
of the
there?
above, they said with the declining school age size that people can't afford and don't need a big 4-bedroom house anymore. So they're looking at, you know,
Changing existing single-family homes into multifamily homes?
I think the construction is looking at more, the new construction, a lot of it's multifamily throughout the state. So anyway, I'll send you that information. We also heard an update on the 5 Nutmeg network demonstration projects, various internet improvements in other towns, some pilot projects that are doing, so they're following up on that. And
Yeah, how's it
they're
going?
the pilots are saying this is very time intensive. They're seeing, spending a lot of time looking at some long-term savings. We're still working out a lot of kinks on things.
Who are the 5 towns?
There's different towns that are doing different things.
Oh, I thought you said there was 5.
Well, there's 5 that, but the closest ones to us are Barkhamsted and I believe like Brookfield and Milford. But different people are doing different things. Here's the printout, so you can have that. That's the latest. So we'll be keeping track of that, and that's about, you know, then we had our legislative stuff for the present. Here is a Household Hazardous Waste Day. Richard, I'm not sure is that on the website, do you know, for September 26th?
Mhm.
And I think that's about it from the COG. Any other questions about that?
Where's the hazardous waste? What
It's in Torrington, but the tickets are available here at Town Hall. How's the response been, Joyce?
Slow.
Slow. We have heard of people using the Pink Care program. We did paint the sign for the bridge dance with recycled paint from our supply. So we're saving money that way. Let's see. Next thing is West Cornwall water septic. One of the things Goldman said that they could work on setting up some sort of meeting, facilitated meeting on water and septic. They've done that for large residential developments. They have some septic experience, so that may happen in the fall.
Facilitate a meeting between who?
If we get a study group organized, they've gone, they have actually proposed, worked with towns on some septic expansion projects. So at least they certainly have more experience than we do on dealing with these programs. So they said they could attend those and
Yeah,
help.
interested to know what they would be, what more they would bring to the table other than just, these are our services. Like we've already talked to Torrington Area Health. Have they gotten back to us with their
No, they
report
haven't.
that they were gonna do?
They haven't gotten it.
No.
Maybe they could help us find suitable consultants.
Right.
They may have the list of suitable.
Well, I mean, I think they've done some big residential developments, so they know, you know, what size or, you know, some of the lingo, some of the
Right.
permits, some of the
I just
issues.
didn't know who would be invited to this meeting that they.
Well, I think what I envisioned this going, I did hear from Josh Tyson. We sort of did ask people in the Chronicle if you're interested in it. Did hear from Josh Tyson, Ian Ingersoll, Todd Piker said they'd be interested in being on a study group. At some point next month, we probably should think about appointing a study group, and this might be a good start to review, you know, sit down with Torrent Area Health, review the process, the QBS, hear from Goldman. I mean, this would have to be a separate meeting from this because,
Right.
again, this would be a couple-hour meeting, trying some sort of organizational stuff, but I think having somebody with septic experience,
Sort of
municipal
be
experience.
a single
Or-
item
Right.
agenda, the water,
Right.
Right.
the issue in West Cornwall. It wouldn't be all the different things that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I just didn't
So-
know what they were offering. I mean, we've had a lot of meetings of people just, you know, saying this is what we need, this is what we don't need, this is our experience. I didn't know if they were just gonna, this was gonna be another one of those that wasn't gonna go anywhere.
Right, well, we get a study group, I think,
Yeah,
wasn't
and
it?
if they can offer their
Right,
expertise
so
to
we
that.
need to be thinking about that for next month.
Good.
Okay, but I wanted to keep that on the agenda items. Okay, anything else on water septic? Any public comments at this point?
And Gordon, I was wondering, so the $1,800 on the oil bid, that's credited then at the end of the season?
We have to pay that for every gallon. We have to pay 17 cents, so they want the 17 cents up front. So
Okay.
assuming that we're gonna play like whatever the floating price is, so say it's $1.70 now, they tack on the 17 cents, we'd only pay the $1.70. That's the way I interpret it works.
Okay, so if we had a warm winter.
If we
and
were
paid
wonder,
for
hopefully we would get our
the difference.
our difference back, hopefully.
Okay,
or
so
else we
you
could
pay the
fill up all our
17
tanks.
cents on whatever the floating price is.
Above that, yeah,
Okay.
which would still float underneath $2.10 right now.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering about the windows. Are the bids that you opened available for public review?
Yes, those are public documents at this point.
I was gonna ask for a ballpark or a range, just have an idea.
What do they look like? They look like between $9,000 and $20,000.
But I don't think that may be true, 10 and 20, but it depends on, you know, A, B, and C, A,
Yeah,
B,
different types of
E,
windows
F, and different kinds of
Right.
windows. It's
And-
just not somebody said, we can do
Yeah,
it for
we
10, so
understand
that's
that.
It also is taking some, it's also some millwork on the inside, so it's not just replacing the glass, it's doing quite a bit of millwork. And we have to look whether that's painted on the inside, making them fit.
Right, it's, yeah, and I think even there are two bids, and each bid has a bunch of different components, and you could choose all the components or only part of the components.
That was why I asked if they were
Yeah.
available for people to see.
But I think that, our initial thing is to have Paul look at it to,
I think it's a good idea.
Right, I think we'll have, I'd like to have Paul look at them before we get them
Would
out
it be
there.
possible, Gordon, to have the Housatonic Railroad letter that the three of you are signing posted on the website so people can understand that you as a town are moving forward on this issue?
Quite possible.
Okay, well, I would request that that be done. I was also wondering about the October 30th date for the annual town meeting, and if, since that's the week prior to elections, if it doesn't perhaps give an inappropriate advantage to the incumbents, and that it might be more appropriate to schedule your town meeting after the election. I submit that for your consideration. I also think that there should be a great compliment given to our new Park and Rec director, who I have not met, but who seemed to do some wonderful events at the Ag Fair this year. There were, it was unfortunately a very small crowd, but I thought some of the wonderful things that they did. They had a frozen t-shirt contest and just a whole bunch of new things, and I hope that the board might, I think
think
you made
actually
a
a lot of
good
the-
selection.
I think some of those new events actually were done by the agricultural committee, and they were taken from other fairs by the agricultural committee. I don't think it was actually Park and Rec, but we'll find out. I know who stole the idea for the frozen t-shirts from the Goshen Fair. I'm not saying, but it was a lot of fun.
Well,
Yeah.
whoever did it, I thought the kid events were very well
Yeah, I
done.
think we should, I will write a letter of thanks to the commission, especially the Ag Commission, so people don't take it for granted.
I also would ask that the report from whatever the name is, Goodman in New York or Comer in New York, that their report on Cornwall should also be on our website,
Right, for
not,
sure.
not just theirs.
No, it will get as wide as distribution as possible.
Thank you.
Just something to note, last night when George Jepson was here, he listed, help to municipalities with sewer projects. So I asked him to expand on it, and he said that if it got to his office, it would be because you might be legally required to do something. you know, I briefly spelled out what's going on here so he could speak to that directly, and he said, it might be legally required, in which case his office could help with funding.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I thought we talked about that with Torrington Area Health and the woman from the state
Right.
that was there.
Right. That we know the state will, at least for the study, will provide 55%, probably. Did he go beyond that
He
clean
didn't say
water
much about
fund?
anything, but he just said funding for the project,
Right,
if there's a legal requirement.
right.
So that might be an avenue to research.
Yeah, I think there's different ways you can get involved. Okay? Any other comments? Okay, next is bill paying and bank reconciliation.
And I just have a question on that procedurally for our board. I know I've been here 2 years, but that was not on our original agenda. So if that was not on there, would we then not be able to sign off on all of these bills and payroll and all of that? How would that work?
I think this says notice revised. This is the current revised notice.
Right, but on the first notice that came through,
Right.
there was no approval of minutes and no bill payment. So I said, okay, so we don't have any minutes to approve or bills to pay? So if that original notice stood,
But it didn't.
what would happen with those payments? If
Well,
they just wouldn't happen?
The important
or-
thing is the only real legal requirement is the notice that is accepted by the town clerk and is posted on that board. It
Right,
doesn't have to be posted on the internet or anywhere else. So it is common, although not every time, for people to change the agenda, expand it, and then go to Vera with a revised agenda, which is why this says notice revised.
right, but I'm just
So I
saying
think if-
procedurally, if
if-
that was not on our agenda,
We can't
couldn't
do what's,
sign off on those checks.
Barbara says it doesn't have to be paid through a selectmen's meeting. Yes, you could pay the bills, even if it wasn't on there.
Oh, okay, okay, that's my
Yeah.
question
So then
procedurally,
they
how
have
would
it.
that happen?
Yeah,
Okay.
bills can still be paid,
Okay,
even though it's not in the context of a meeting.
okay, good to know.
right, because all the bills, all the expenditures are approved by the town meeting as long as we sign off. But
Okay,
it's better to do them in a meeting.
good to know.
Okay? Anything else? Bills?